In this workbook, we want to make sure that people have entered a customer name here before they print the worksheet. So we created a macro that shows a message box and reminds people to select a customer. So to see that macro, I can click the macros command. Here's my macro. When I click run, it shows the message with a warning red X. It says select a customer name, and I click OK. But right now it's showing that message whether or not a customer has been selected, and we don't want to bother people or slow them down if they have already selected a customer. So we're going to revise that macro so it checks this cell to see if there's a customer name there. And we can't record all of that, but we're going to see how the macro recorder refers to a worksheet and to a cell. So in the we're going to record a macro where we select this sheet and select this cell. So to do that, we're going to click away from the cell and select a different sheet. And then I'll record. I'll come down and click the Start Recording button. I'll call this Test because we aren't really going to keep this macro. We're just going to see how it works. Click OK. And now we want to select the order form sheet and select cell B5, which is where the customer name goes. And that's all we're going to do. We'll click Stop Recording. To see that macro now, I'll click Macros again. There's Test and click Edit. And here are the two lines that were created. And the rest is just empty rows, and these are little comments that the recorder put in there for us. So to refer to a sheet, it says Sheets, and then in double quotes the name of the sheet, and we did a select of that sheet, so it shows the select at the end of that line, and then we selected cell B5, so it's called range B5 in the code. So we're going to select that code we created and copy it, so I'm just pressing Control-C, and then I'll go to my original module, Module 1, and here's my message box code. Now I wanted to check that cell before it shows the message box. So I'm going to click at the start of that line and press Enter to create a blank line. And I'll paste in those two lines that I copied. Now, instead of having two separate lines, we're going to combine them. So I'm going to click just after that dot and delete the end of that line and to the start of the next line. So I'm just pressing the delete key. And now this is sheet order form range B5. And we don't want to select in our macro, we want to check a value in that cell. So I'm going to double click on select and type value. And to check the value, we want to see if it's an empty cell. So I'm going to type an equal sign and two double quotes, and that will check to see. So right now we're looking at order form sheet, cell B5, and we're going to test the value to see if it's empty. So to check it, at the beginning of this line, I'm going to type if, just as we would in a formula on the worksheet. And at the end of the line, I'll click, type a space, and the word then, T-H-E-N. So if that sheet, that cell is empty, then show the message box. And to finish that, I'll just type end if. So we're just completing that little sequence we created. And to make it easier to read, you can click at the start of that line and press the Tab key to indent it. So now we're going to check our cell to see if it's empty. If it is empty, it'll show the message box, and then the macro will end. So I'm going back to Excel, and we have something in the cell now. So a customer name has been selected. So when I go to customer message and run it, nothing shows up because we have a customer name. If I delete that and now try and run the macro, customer message run, it warns me to select a customer name. So I can go back and complete the worksheet before I print it.